Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I know I'm super annoying with this stuff, and but I truly believe that it is useful. If you just tell me like, hey, we just like worked on our comms, I think this will never work if you have the scrim goal on comms. As I've said multiple times, I think it's just too general because I think they are like, and I have no ideas, obviously, like how exactly you do it or like how is your personality, but I know it from our other teams that there are always, in my experience, kind of two directions. Either players say, yeah, if a team needs to work on comms, I'm not a problem, so I just keep doing what I normally do. Um, or they feel like they have to change something dramatically, or like I don't know, take the like I don't know, make the shot calling instead of even though somebody else is supposed to do it, and like help the whole time, or like say everything on their own instead of kind of giving room for the other. So I would recommend, if you really want to improve on communication, that you make it as specific as possible, and don't be afraid to like call names in a sense of like uh I don't know, like our main tank needs to, like, we never have a fight plan. Our main thing is the shot caller, so he needs to make sure that we always ask the question like what needs to happen, or like needs to always make a decision, or like I don't know, we have no ult tracking, or like ult tracking is late, and we need to like that he like this guy who is ult tracker needs to initiate this process. Um, do you know what I mean with this? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, okay. This is fine. Again, like if you want to improve this, like communication wise, then I would also just this was just examples obviously with the fight planning and ult tracking. Then I would also recommend to you like make it specific, because this also like if you think about it and try to make it specific, like you will ask important questions. So like if you say like, hey, our target focus, or like we are kind of spreading out a lot of times, and okay guys, then let's work on comms for the next scrum so we can improve this. How about you ask, okay, like what exactly like do we need to com? Do we need to communicate that we must stacked? Like who needs to com this? And that we really like make it like with a like, yeah, who says what kind of scenario? Like obviously we don't go like over every scenario, but we kind of have it more. I just wanted like somebody feels responsible of doing it, not that we say, okay, like guys, next time we, for example, work on positioning, which like sure, yes, definitely. I think if you consider it a big goal and of course useful, but it's more like okay, like our Hanzo needs to like be more clear when he takes angles of like I can give you an example from my team right now. Like I was also in a session, that's why I'm a little bit late, and we actually talked about that with double shield we want that our Sigma and Hanzo, they take more off angles, and they make it more consistently, and it came out that they need to be more communicative, or like they need to like say more like before the fight starts, like when they want to take off, or like what their plan is. And we figured out that it's a problem that our main tank, who normally does the fight planning, he cannot say it, like he cannot communicate this, but because he doesn't know, like he just doesn't know like what going was on there on the side, so he cannot really make this communication. So we kind of basically just said, okay, for the next scrim we wanted our Sigma is like way more focused on like communicating these angles, and has like way more also control of the fight. And like, and what basically just the only thing I want to like show with this example is that like instead of saying, okay, we need to work more on positioning, it's like, okay, we have a clear goal of like our Sigma player and our Hanzo needs to communicate this more like this, or like they need to, I don't know, do it more, like whatever it is, like, but it's clearly on this person to do it. And then also obviously if then, I don't know, our main heal has really nothing to do, then you can just kind of look either for a personal goal on your own to practice the scrum, or you maybe also find something like how can you assist our teammates to make it better in this goal, But does it like, do you understand my point in general, that I think it's better scrim goals to make them like as like kind of more personalized, or like take my responsibility for it? The others too? Do you understand what I mean? They're all gone. You understand? Okay. And what is it? I like drinking at 7 p.m. Oh, Tyler. That's just Tyler. Okay. Yeah. And yeah. And Saint is muted. I guess he cannot talk right now. But I hope he's writing. So yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay, perfect. Great. Okay, then I don't want to take more time. Then you obviously have a topic already. Let's take a look at the replay codes that you sent me. With which do you mind before we start, or you don't care? Gibraltar or the other? Hmm. Great. It's the first one, Gibraltar. So you said second point. I think we just like go first or second, or and then talk about this. First point. First point. Okay. All right. Then let's just start from the start. Okay. Yeah. Can you again like introduce me to the topic? Like, what exactly is kind of the thing that you want to pay attention right now, or like what you want to talk about, discuss? Okay. Okay. But I mean, sorry, I was more like asking like what is kind of your question? Like, why do we look at the Gibraltar map right now? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Then this. Okay. Then let me just. So we kind of just to look at this a little bit more general and see kind of what is going on. Okay. Then maybe like also like real quick, just don't want to go like much in theory, but at least that we're on the same page here, like you and me. Um, just tell me real quick, like what is the win condition of this composition? Like how do we get a kill with this comp? Mm-hmm. Um, okay, yeah, perfect. So definitely, like we want to burst somebody down, like a timing is important and stuff like this. Is there any kind of like steps that we take, or like any process that we kind of get to this kill, or do we just um like anything more specific that you can think about? Like for example, like how do we know which do we who do we dive, or like. Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe like let me come in here for a second. Like I think what you said is completely correct. Like, I think definitely, I mean, obviously, it's a dive strategy. Dive is all about burst damage, right? And how we kind of get burst damage is about like, or like how that, but basically, what it means is that we need to have a good timing. And what this means is that we need to, it is more important that we are all there at the same time and like shooting the same person than like having our perfect rollout or whatever. Just quick example, think about like in like, this is like the time, like in 1 second we deal like 199 damage. Then in the second we deal 199 damage. And then in the third second we deal again like 199 damage. Um, and it's all on, I don't know, the Ana, The Ana will not die. Why? Because they have like healing, they have like sustain, they have defense metrics and whatever. Um, so this will not succeed, even though we have like do a shit ton of damage. It's way more important that we have like, let's say 201 damage and then 50 and 50, even though we deal less damage at overall, like here already like somebody is dead, you know. So and what I'm talking like how can you actually use this concept in the fight is that whenever we make a dive, let's say on this widow here, and we initiate, like the Winston starts jumping, I don't care if the tracer is like here or something like, or like I don't care like how much damage you do, if you're in position or not. Even if the tracer is here, like you're not in position to like dive this widow. If you can just like deal 20 damage or something like this at the same time where the Winston jumps, this is more valuable than kind of waiting for 2 more seconds and then come in and then deal all of the damage, you know? Like it's really important that the timing of us is there. And it doesn't really matter if we're like all doing the same thing or if like our Genji just like, I don't know, 500 damage or something like this. I mean, let's say like at least 199. Do you guys know what I mean with this? Hmm. I I definitely I don't know what the problem is, but for sure staging is one important step. I just wanted to like make sure that you know, like what I mean with the timing is understandable. Um but yeah, just e yeah, let's exactly, like this is just like outside of thing. Like it's just really just a extra information, you know, like basically like okay, with 3 players, the payload moves fastest. Like it has not much to do like what I just said with like how we do it. So let's actually talk about it, like how we actually do it. Now in a dive, there are always kind of in every dive strategy, doesn't matter which composition, which heroes, there are always kind of 3 steps to actually get a kill consistently. And obviously then win the fight. And this always has like these 3 stages, like number one, or like what could be number one? Like what's always the first thing we need to do when we kind of dive somebody? So when we want to make the players dive strategy and we obviously like looking to kill somebody. Exactly. So the first thing we need to do is scouting. We need to find the target. So basically we ask it to a question like who and where, right? We need to know like who is the target. I don't know, is it the Anna because she has nade or because she has like it's just an Anna? Is it maybe even a Diva because she's hacked? Like I don't care. You know, it can be like everybody can be a hacked dive target if they have no abilities or whatever. So we need to like make sure that it is, and then obviously where. Is it like payload, high ground, or whatever? I guess it's understandable why. So we can obviously prepare ourselves. So what's the second thing afterwards? Like after we scouted the target. Hmm. What does it mean? Like if what does it mean when you say staging? Yeah, exactly. Um, basically exactly what you said. I would always just say you're in a position where you have like where you can reach the enemy target with one movement ability. But what you said is completely true. And then what's the last thing? Yeah, it's just kind of the dive. And normally what is kind of important or like there's obviously where the timing come in, you know, like we need to make sure like how do we make sure that we all kind of jump at the same time. And normally what happens, or like what I hear a lot, is kind of that they make a call like a 3-2-1 call, for example, or like maybe other things. Like you don't maybe you all not always have the time to make a 3-2-1 call, but you have some other way of communicating. Okay, we all go now to this target. And the last thing here, which I think depends a bit on the situation, is kind of the question of do we kind of reset or do we kind of keep going? Um, like you know, like if do we like all jump in and we have to reset, so basically we go defensively again, or can we just like keep the question going and don't have to like reset or like have to wait for anything else? Does it make sense? Um, do we want to take a look like especially these 3 steps like as some examples from Overwatch League, or do you just feel like okay, this is understood enough, let's just kind of take a look at our gameplay, how we do it? What do you feel like, what do you guys feel like is better? Okay, then let's do this. So yeah, I mean I will not look much more at anything else. I will just literally look at this kind of 3 points. Obviously I don't have the communication, which is always great at dive, but at least I try to imagine a little bit what you're talking about. But yeah, I'm mostly looking at the execution. Like, do we dive somebody together, and let's see what we're doing. Uh, Like just to obviously I don't want to like point, don't want to blame anybody, but it was kind of this a little bit of what I said with the widow. You know, like here the tracer goes to the widow. The widow is almost dead. Imagine if this damage from the monkey, like the jump damage and the left click, would have killed the widow, like together, you know. But because we are not on the same page, or like we're not diving together, widow survives. Again, I'm not saying this is like nobody's fault here in this case. I'm just kind of wanted to show that that's what I kind of meant with we need to just be together. But for now, also like, do we need like obviously we talked about like, yeah, this is how we win fights, but do we even like need to fight somebody right now? Like we can also just move payloads. For now, I think it's all fine. Like we can just move payload until we are there, and then we kind of take care of the high ground. So we don't have any pressure to do much. We of course can do something. If we want to do something, I want that we communicate this. So if kind of the tracer goes here on the high ground to the widow, I want that this is communicated so that the Genji, for example, can dash there, that Winston dives there, because then we get a kill. But yeah, or we can just also play slow and just farm nano and whatever, play on payload, because for now we can push for free. And this is kind of at the end of the day, again, like, I mean, yeah, Overwatch, we don't win Overwatch because we won like 20 fights. We win Overwatch because we pushed the payload from the start to the end. So if they kind of give us a payload here for free, which is like there are many reasons why this is a good choice that they should not fight here. We are completely happy with it. We don't need to perform a dive. Does it make sense? Yeah. So obviously we want to make sure that we die and stuff like this. Like he also like, again, like, is this really a dive for killing somebody? I don't know. Maybe this is just a dive to also farm nano, so I'm completely fine with this. Like, it's, if this would be a dive to kill somebody, I'm missing the tracer, I'm missing the Genji, you know, like I want that they are kind of somewhere in a position where they can follow up on either killing, you know, like then here's at any target basically. This is not the case, so I just assume from communication wise, it's just like Fox saying like, hey, I just like jump in here, make some pressure so we can keep pushing payload, we farm nano boost, but this dive should not be intended to kill anybody in any way. And please, if you have like, you know, tell me if I'm wrong or if there's also like something you want to say or so. Obviously this is like really bad. Like obviously it's always bad if somebody dies, but it's bad in the sense of this so far is all kind of just like staggering, or like not staggering, it's all like kind of preparing stuff, you know? We're not looking for much. So in these phases we need to, like, generally speaking, play defensively, because this is not a composition that works like, that is more like, or how can I say, like this, with this composition we are not looking for like one-on-ones. We are not looking for like the tracer goes on tracer and like try to win the one-on-one, or like the Genji, I don't know, to something. Like this is something we need to play together. Maybe another example, double shield, you know, where we have kind of, or like the double bubble even, where they have the tracer was always kind of like taking care of the payload and having this one-on-one against the enemy tracer. Like in a dive, it is not the case. Like we do stuff together. We dive together or we don't dive together. So yeah. Okay, so now we obviously get the points here, and now kind of it starts happening. So, and I think at this point, like, we cannot expect to push the payload more like this, because then obviously at some point they can just shoot us. So this is fine. Like, this is also completely okay for us. Payload is here, because now if we win the fight, we should have the payload at least here then after the one fight. So they have to rush the point. We have a really good position to win also the second fight. So I think this is kind of what should be our advantage at the start, and now we can take care of the high ground. Obviously at this point we already lost 2. So I would not even bother. I would just kind of regroup, because like I said, this composition, or like how we're playing, is so much more important, like S6, than anybody else. Like that's also the main kind of no problem, difficulty when playing this composition, because we just need all 6 together there. Like, you know, I don't know, if in a spam composition, like if we have like a situation like 4 versus 6 and we have a widow, like, okay, maybe the widow just like goes and like kills 2 guys, like kills one-shots them, you know, okay, it's still winnable. Like in a spam composition, it's always winnable. But in a dive, I think it's like literally all or nothing. So either we go together in or not, similar like a brawl thing. But I also don't think, like, for example, like here, supports. Like I don't think we have to like push all the way here. You know, like I think if you just have our Winston there, or like maybe even our just our Tracer, you know, and giving her resources with like some armor packs, and meanwhile we can maybe make a rotation here. Just literally wait here at stairs, or maybe even wait here if we want to. You know, like making sure that our Tracers maybe packed once or twice. Obviously, if they like put more resources here, then we have to also like take care of this. But yeah, like as long as our payload is down there, it's fine. Afterwards, we go high ground anyways. Or normally we should go about high ground. So let's just see for the next fight. So again, like just doing a lot of lone things. So sure. Okay. Now we obviously play with Widow. Like what's the difference now for our playstyle? Is there anything like does anything change, or how do we incorporate the Widow? We make space for the Widow. Okay. So how do we do it? Mm-hmm. Um. Okay. Let's maybe see how we do it. Or like my opinion about like sure, like no, obviously like with the Widow, like we have less strength in our dive, like just less damage, but we have like this long range component or like this one shot potential. So do we kind of play around the Widow that we kind of make space for her? Then okay, sure, we like look for a lot of counter dives, looking for like maybe like marking the Widow so she cannot be effective, and our Widow kind of gets just like I don't know, sits somewhere and like kills people. It's like if this is our win condition, then sure, then I'm not looking for like a dive strategy anymore. I'm looking just for a spam strategy that kind of our tanks just jump up here, do something. It doesn't really matter, like not coordinated. Doesn't have to be like a killing thing, and our Widow makes the kills. You know, this is I think like one idea we can play around. Or we just say, hey, Widow, you're just literally like, a little bit on your own. We still make a whole, like, we still play for this dive component, and we still want to, like, kill somebody together. And our Widow is just literally hiding the whole time. The moment we dive somebody, then she can go out and indirectly take this space. Um, I don't think. Yeah, now let's just see kind of what mostly we are doing. Like, I think there's no right or wrong or better place or not. It depends, obviously, also um, on the situation. Like for example, if we have nanoblade, we're not making space for Widow, right? Like we obviously dive in and try to use the nanoblade to kill somebody, right? So it's just our tanks diving in, making space for Genji. Um, if we have not, I don't know, if we don't have nanoblade or something like, or we have just a primal, then maybe we can play more for Widow and say, hey, I just go in and primal them around, and maybe Widow gets like space with this, like gets headshot opportunities. Does it make sense? So like the only thing I want to say with this is like just because we have a Widow doesn't mean we have to now like I don't think we want to change the whole playstyle of like, hey, we just play for Widow right now. I personally would say that in most of the scenarios we're still playing the dive. We just don't have a Tracer. You know, we just play off playing a little bit as 5 man, and Widow is kind of making space. Or we have literally like, or we actively play around this if this is what you want. But then maybe other heroes are more effective, who are more like, I don't know, for example, double shield is something like obviously can make more space for Widow. Um, maybe also then we want to play something as in a Genji, because a Genji on his own maybe is not effective, like things like this. But yeah, just wanted to mention it again. Like I don't think there's a right or wrong. Just need to be on the same page. So let's see how we take the high ground. Okay. All right. Tell me when you see this now, what do you think about it? And yeah, just your opinions about it, like good, bad. Um, what do you thought about when you made this? What was the problem? What was that good? Just want to give a little bit of your opinion without me, like so that I'm not the one talking all the time. No, I mean just like what do you think about like you saw this fight here? I can just like just go over it. Like if you just would be in my position, like you are the one making the what view right now, like is there something that feel like okay, like is there something like I don't know, is there something you want to talk to your tell your players? Like, do you think this was a good? What's bad? Like, is there I don't know, like just your opinion about like this last fight here, or what was our idea? What didn't work? What worked? Okay, then obviously the next question would be like, how can we fix it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Everything together. Mm-hmm. I think both of you are completely correct. Like I definitely think we. I don't know what we waited for. Obviously I also know the plan, but I feel like there was enough time for us to execute. And also like obviously when we peel for the monkey, I think we again like either we peel for it. So what I mean with this is like if we peel for it, like what is our diva doing right now? Of course, I mean I can do nothing against monkey. Like what do you want to do? Like DM him? No, of course not. But like I don't know if like, for example, what it can do obviously like we obviously I mean you played Diva for a long time. You guess know obviously how can help us is like how can you negate out the damage? Is it that you kind of have to DM the Ana right now here, or that you have to DM the Widow? But I think most of the time you have to like take a look at the tracer, right? Like the tracer is the one who deals damage. So I would just as a diva just go back. Obviously ignore the monkey. I don't care, give a shit about monkey, but then trying to look for DM on the tracer. The same on the Genji. Like sure you can push payload here, I guess. I mean, okay, like Genji really doesn't really have like much tools to DM to help us. So if we just take a little bit payload pressure, maybe forcing the Winston back, okay, or like having the attention from the enemy team, like not being on the dive, being on the payload, I think this is okay, but definitely not with the idea of like, hey, I just push payload here or something like this, or like, like this topic is fine. The Widow, I don't think we want to take angles, take duels right now, like not in this moment. I think the moment the Widow, Winston jumps in, obviously like the Widow here, like she's completely unoccupied. Like the only thing she has to do right now is look in this direction. So I think this is the worst timing to actually go for any Widow 101s, because like literally she's like completely like almost AFK, right? And you have to run away from a Winston. At the same time, you have to dodge the Tracer, and then you want to take the Widow duel. I think you just literally chill. I mean, obviously you cannot do much against the Winston, but I would just literally just almost be AFK. Like I don't know, shoot a Winston or stuff like this. We just kind of stay here, kite out a Winston. I think we have no big pressure from us, and then wait. Um, if we make the decision to go back, we can obviously also make the different decision and say, okay, we don't peel because we actually prepared ourselves the whole time a dive, and we now really like dive somebody. But then obviously we go like all this go here. We go look for maybe undernades possibility, maybe nading, like nanoplating or like nanon somebody. Then of course, like if we go aggressive, of course, like no question asked, of course we go for this duel and look for the space that we create. And then obviously it's our break's job to peel against the monkey as best as possible. Um, and our Anna tries to survive afterwards. But this is just a different, like idea. Um, so then my question is, because to be honest, I can also not answer it. Is this happening often that we kind of stay and do nothing, or like what is the cause of this problem? Because it doesn't really help us to just talk about it, say like, hey, look, this is bad. We obviously need to talk about like how can we fix it. So because I don't know like your scrims, where do you feel like Is this a problem of understanding that we don't know what to do? Is it a problem of communication that we don't get a call? Is it a problem of we have different ideas? Like where's kind of the inch? Okay. Um, Sorry, and I have to be honest, I was just a little bit spaced out. Can you just repeat it for me? Sorry. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. But why are we not doing it then? Like the thing is like, sorry. Um. Yeah. No, of course, yeah, sure. I definitely agree with you. As Anna cannot do much, but obviously you're one member of the team, so obviously I'm asking the whole, not only you, I'm asking the full team, because like if it's like if it's a question of understanding that we don't really know how to handle the situation, of course I guess I can just give you my opinion, or like I mean you all know it, that you want to take high grounds and you want to do like space here, and we can talk about details of how to do it, but yeah, is it like a communication thing that we all know it? We're just kind of waiting for a go sign, and this is kind of a little bit what we need to figure out. Um, hmm, okay. Um, all right, then maybe we can like without like so we're not getting stuck here. We can like maybe like just look at this next fight and see how this goes. Of course, like if you want to farm nano blades or like the blade damage, I would still expect our tanks jumping in here, so our Genji can also dash up here. Obviously, and then again, in ME we kind of just go fall back, but obviously Genji farming here from this position for nade, for blade maybe is not so effective. Or if we really want to make a full dive, then of course, like why not just taking like our healers here? Or like if we want to play from here, and like we dive like the Haikon or whatever, we can also just say, hey, our healers, maybe our Ana is more comfortable playing from bridge, then we just make a rotation on bridge, putting our Ana here. Like again, the brick is not the brick is just kind of mostly there to defend our Ana. So it's all about kind of where does our Ana want to play? Does our Ana want to play from here? Sorry, from here and support the dive that is mostly happening here, I guess, most of the time. Or like obviously depends on where they're staying, depends on what target we is. But let's assume it's the Ana. Um, or does our Ana want to play from here to support this dive, or does our Ana want to play from here? And this is kind of all the staging thing. Like, I talked a bit start about it. It's like the first thing we need to do is scouting, so we need to know like what's our objective. You said like farming blade, okay, then there's nothing with scouting. We just like farm blade, okay, I guess we can just counter dive, so our Genji get actually an opportunity to be effective in his range. If we actually want to kill somebody, then these three things. Okay, like who do we kill? Okay, we kill Ana. Okay, stage. How would you can we position? Genji doesn't really care. Like he's so mobile, he can just dash in from almost everywhere. Monkey Diva the same. Okay, then the only thing he really needs to stage is I guess the Ana, because like the Ana needs to obviously help us in this area. If it's with anti dives or if it's with just healing. So in this case, we need to communicate. Again, like I don't know if like I don't know. We just need to communicate. Okay, where does Anna want to play? Why not just says okay, I'm done, or like I'm fine with it. I just play here. I mean, completely fine, Then, but then obviously, the moment we check mark this, we just need to have like some kind of cue. Like some players say, everybody says okay. Um, some others say nothing. Like if there's silence, then everybody is ready for it. Like I don't care how you do it, but there needs to be like some kind of okay, we staged now, we're kind of ready now. And then obviously the last thing is the engagement. Engage engagement. Which is normally, I guess, I mean, which is in this case, or like it's normally the main tank. Go Drum is obviously first to go with the Diva. I will recommend make a 3-2-1 countdown, so that we can synchronize our damage, and then we go in. Yeah, okay. I guess like any questions about this? No. Okay, then I want to I don't want to be too stuck on this part. Let's just kind of just jump to the next fight. Like my problem for now is I'm not so sure like where the actual problem is. If it's understanding or if it's like a communication thing. Like, you know, I don't know why you're not doing it, because when I talk to you, you know how to do it. Or like you tell me like, hey, we want to do this and this. Okay, then like why is the problem that you're not doing it? So now we take high ground. Okay, we got even a pick. Great. We also have a lot of ultimates. I'm curious like what we do. Okay, we take space. Sure, we scouted them, I guess, that they're not here. So obviously like here we already should plan, okay, like where does the fight happen? I mean, we have two options. We can play for like super slow, like maybe for ready, but obviously then we're just brawling, you know, like do we just kind of push payload pressure, like look for our widow, then we're not diving. It has nothing to do with dive. Then we just kind of put someone on payload. We like all of our angles go here, like widow needs to have an angle there, like Anna needs to have line of sight on the payload, and we just, yeah, like everybody just shoots tanks. Who had us more damage needs to go back, and the other guy push payload. I mean, nothing, like it's really nothing, nothing bad, nothing bad. Okay, nothing sorry, complicated. And if we, or like we should say, hey, because we have now nano blade, we go aggressive, and we like try to kill somebody like back here. I mean, or like kill somebody. Point, where are they? They are back here. Okay, like we need to position ourselves so we can be effective in this area. Like, please give me feedback if you understand that these are our two options. Like, uh-huh. Okay, perfect. So apparently then, you know, just for me, it's not like an understanding problem, because I guess you know, like, or at least from what I get here from your answers, general, is that, hey, we all know, like, these are two options, and we clearly also communicate, like, what we want to do. So let's see how we do it. Okay. So then obviously it's like, yeah, it's kind of a tiny thing with like timing, you know, like, I don't know, like some things, for example, like if we really want to dive in here, like there shouldn't be a bubble. The bubble should be like in here. And also we are really like showing ourselves a lot. Like if we really want to dive here, then like get ourselves ready. Like I would kind of, to be honest, I would just like literally stay here, Diva Winston. I don't know if Anna, if you're fine with this position here, to help in server, maybe even here, but it's completely up to Anna, so I don't really mind. Widow for sure is not ready, because I mean the Widow cannot even shoot in server. Is the Genji ready to dive in server? I don't know. Like maybe the Genji wants to like go here and like, you know, try to fight the Tracer a little bit. I mean close range should be fine, with especially with brick armor packs. But yeah, like basically like we're like they are already kind of fighting. They're already kind of going in without our team being ready. So, and how can we like how can we fix this problem with just knowing, okay, like this is our goal. So if this is our goal, we just like literally chill. Like Winston, Diva, just chill here. There's no payload pressure, whatever. Get in position here. Get in position. Maybe get in position. I don't know if you want to play from there. And staging done. Point. We are ready. Okay, like 3, 2, 1. Jump. Yeah, like here we start here with the 3. Here's the 2, and then 1 is the jump. Winston jumps. Genji goes here. Dashes. Maybe an anti-nade if you want, or if you don't want. And obviously you can nano here already if you want. I don't know. Like this is, but this is kind of how we do it, or how one option would be to do it. Any questions about this? No. Okay. Like again, like, you know, we diving in here with obviously with Prime, and of course, like, yeah, the problem is like they go first, which is as dive we always want to go first, because this like if we're playing dive, you know, we talked about it. Like dive is about burst, right? Like dive is the best thing about dive that dive can do, or like this dive is really good at, is killing somebody. We are not good at peeling. Like we're not good at surviving. So if they go to us early and we have to peel, we're just bad at this. Like just the heroes are just not good at this. So we want to always like try to be fast, or like want to be the first one. And how we can like how do we not let them go first if we don't go into their kill zone? You know what you kind of said before. Like obviously, if we push payload here, I mean, of course they will kind of go to us, right? Like if we go inside here, wait in the open, I mean, of course they will shoot us, and our Winston gets low HP, and then maybe has to bubble. So if like our Winston stage is here, for example, our Diva stage is here. You know, same thing here. Like our Winston and Diva they stage here, for example, or like I don't know, even here if you want to really hide, um, and then we go in together. Uh, yeah. I will just go next fight. Anything you want to talk about also to, or anything else you want to say? No. Okay. hmm Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Like this is, to be honest, like I think this is like like a problem we can then face afterwards. Like I don't know if this is the right decision or not. If you should go keep going. Um, but it's kind of it feels a little bit. This is like problem one we need to work on. Then maybe there's something else, and then this is like, hey, we don't should engage our Anna stat. Like I think it's a little bit too much detail for now. Um, so because I think as long as we're not going like as long as we having as long as we're not even like planning on going together, I think it's something like I want that we have a clear focus on stuff. So I would just kind of push this away for now. Maybe like let's look at one more fight. Then I actually want to also show you an example of how it could be. Right. I mean, obviously, I just want a full fight, not like staggering them. Also here, we say like, hey, we go play for rally or stuff like this. Like if we, like it's completely fine if we don't want to dive. If we just like play almost like a brawl, like we just like rally and like W at them, or like payload and we just brawl that. It's completely fine. Then we can also, it's just like it's just I don't, like, it's just something different. It's just not a dive, which is completely fine. We can definitely also play this brawl or like slow or fast or however you call it, um, as long as we all six on the same page. If we know like, hey, we don't have to do it, then I mean we have all our queues, our priorities and so on. Like here, for example, like this Winston is not, we're not trying to kill them. This is just kind of making space for us. So if we make space, obviously I want to see, yeah, perfect, the Widow takes space, obviously. If Winston jumps up there and makes space, then I want to get that the Widow gets in position meanwhile or something like this, so that we use this momentum to something else. So yeah. Like our Winston makes space for us so that we can push payload. Maybe the timing is not so, I don't know, like how do you even get like in there? Ah, got booped. Okay. Diva booped and then body block. This is really unfortunate. Nice, get out. Perfect. Yeah. So, and now obviously we have to like think again, like how do we do it? And this doesn't have to be like a full force conversation. Like it's just, do we as a team want to like kill somebody? So let's dive. Maybe let's just use the word. Like if you talk about dive, let's dive Anna. Then I expect, hey, this guy go aggressive. Like there's no peeling. Nobody cares about peeling. Our Anna like looks for a position where he can like be effective here. Maybe I would then maybe rotate here to server. Um, or do we just say, hey, let's just play slow. We already like up two, so we don't have to like do anything. We just have to survive. Like, hey, play slow, play brawl. Like I don't care how you communicate it, but some way that you're on the same page. Then Winston just goes back here. We maybe like Genji takes, I don't know, off angle here, whatever. Um, and we just kind of control the card here, keep going and pushing this. These are kind of I think the two options. And we're peeling especially like, yeah, then obviously like here, that means like everybody now attacks the Winston, or like we make sure that we're not dying. So that means how can a Genji help that we're not dying? He can, for example, like maybe like uh, annoy the Widow a little bit, because obviously he cannot really do much against the Winston. If there would be a Tracer, maybe the Genji can, I don't know, attack the Tracer. Make sure that she goes away. I don't care if you kill the Tracer or not. Obviously, the break then pierce against the monkey and all of this stuff. Like, do you see the difference of playstyles? Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Like Genji just does something great. Yeah, we just it's not like it's obviously just mid fight. There's also like don't overcomplicate things. You know, like it's not like hey we always have to be stacked. Now we do this at the start of the fight when we dive. In this case, I would just like, obviously we just push payload, and obviously here it's mostly then about like I mean in mid fight situation, nobody will think about a big macro strategy of what we're doing. Like it obviously comes down to let's focus the same target and obviously stay together. Or like be in the same area and say like this. So I mean this was just a huge anti-net from them and the Winston kind of cleans house a little bit. And I think with the rally now it's kind of almost lost. Like I don't see how you fight against the rally. Yeah. Okay. First of all, like was this helpful? Like because I feel like a little bit I'm or how can I say like I just obviously I want to help you, obviously, that is my its main goal. But I think what's important is that we're not trying to fight against or like try to resolve the how do you say it? Like not the opposite of cause. Like the results kind of, you know? Yeah, like if we like if we I can tell you like I think like for hours like how to play this stuff, but if this is not actually the problem, because we all understand it, it's just a problem of I don't know, we don't communicate it really or something like this. Um, then this is not really helping him. So, and I obviously like I don't know it, you don't know it, so it's completely fine. But then we already kind of know now for next session. Hey, we're all on the same page here. We know how to play this. We know what's important. Like you know, like how to kind of perform these things. Like we know when we dive somebody, we have like these 3 stages: scout, staging, and dive. Um, we also know who does what. Like obviously scouting does everybody, staging also everybody. We need to talk about real quick or like afterwards. You can do it on your own. Is there something? Do we want a specific call? Like does everybody have to say we are ready? Do you want to? I don't know. Say nothing. It is fine. Like I don't know how you want to communicate this. Um, or do you? I think mostly just saying nothing and like. But what I mean with saying nothing is like if you're not ready, you say it. You're like, hey, if the Winston, can we dive Anna? Nobody said anything. Okay, dive in 3, 2, 1. Or other example, can we dive Anna? No, I'm not ready. Okay, wait. I'm ready now. Okay, dive in 3, 2, 1. You know, this is for example what I would prefer. That if nobody says anything, they're always ready. If you're not ready, just say it. And then obviously the dive with like, hey, I prefer a 3, 2, 1 thing. You can also just say, okay, let's go now. At attack, it's always easier 3, 2, 1 calls when you're playing defense. Normally you play around kill zones. You say like, hey, there's a kill zone. We're diving the Anna. And as soon as the moment the Anna walks into this kill zone, we just say go. Because we don't know when the Anna goes there. So we cannot really make a 3, 2, 1 call on. Does it make sense? Okay. And before I let you go, just want to show you like one example of communication, how it could sound like. Pulling up my presentation again. Change window. That's here. And we are looking at, we're listening to the red team. And I mean, obviously, this is a good example. It doesn't always have to be like this. I know the observing is terrible, but don't focus on this. And what I want you to focus on right now is just listen to how this was communicated that we dive there. Like, basically, what will happen is we will dive this bunker composition there, and I want you to listen, especially on the communication, as an example. So. Yeah, I mean, and obviously then it's over. I mean, there's nothing special, right? Like, but did you all hear this? The communication was clear. Yeah. Again, obviously this was also like a set play with the nade here. Like this was this, yeah, like Anna right, like this set nades where you like throw it into the air and then it takes 6 seconds. That's why there was the delay. Like this was planned, this delay, because he was just kind of waiting for the nade to get some more airtime. But yeah, I mean, other than this, what else is maybe important? Like maybe you can also like look at the position, like the staging part, you know, if you take like a look from where they're coming from. If we look behind the Torbjorn there in the Mega Room, there's a Sombra. So she comes from this angle. The Genji comes from the window, and the Winston and the Diva, they come from main. Like, why is this? Because obviously the team, they will always shoot at the main or at the tanks. So there's a Diva there to defense matrix the jump, and when the tank lands, then he uses the bubble to protect the Diva. So the Genji also wants to obviously come from a different angle, so it doesn't get all of this band damage or like this attention also. And the Sombra obviously the same thing, because if she's coming from somewhere else, she can way easier hack somebody. And obviously the nade comes from above, which was just a set nade. If this doesn't set nade, the thing is you also don't have to always start with a nade. Like if you know there's a Diva who's always looking for the nade, then just look for the mid fight, you know. Or like if you also feel like, hey, we don't need a nade because we go for Genji nanoplate anyway, so we have enough damage, then we can just wait for also defensive nades. It's just obviously like, you know, we have to adjust a little bit to the situations. But yeah, then we just dive in here and then yeah. Like also look at the timing, you know, like the timing is obviously like what I always kind of praise. Like it doesn't really matter if we like I don't know, if we always make the perfect Genji melee combo or whatever, as long as we kind of we all there together, it's way more likely that we kill somebody than being like 2 seconds late and then making so much damage. You know, like the example what I showed you at the Widow at the start. Do you remember when like just our Tracer was attacking the Widow, and not to be together? So if the Tracer just waits, or the Winston is a little bit faster, either way, the Widow dies immediately. We don't have to be individually so perfect that we have like, I don't know, god skills. We just need to make sure that we are there at the same time. Because like if all of us just make one left click, almost every character dies. From HP wise. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, like the focus fire for sure, but also like especially the timing is important for me. Like like basically like if our wins makes a 3-1, I prefer that the Tracer or like I don't know the Genji just somehow still gets one dash through there and that's it. He cannot do much, or like just maybe one right click, one left click, and then he can't, or like he's in position or whatever. I prefer this more than um rediving and the Genji finishing his flank and then coming 2 seconds later but can deal 100% of his damage. I prefer that the Genji or that we just somehow try to be there at the same time, even if it's not perfect. Like if you're not perfectly set up, you know, basically if the Genji maybe the Genji then goes with the tanks, you know, even if it's not perfect. But at least please go with the tank set that we are there at the same time. Because this is kind of the important thing. Like if you look at the HP also from the enemy team, like they kind of drop together. And it's not because they are like, I think this is a Diamond team or something like this. So they definitely don't have the best mechanics. It's just more because the timing is correct. Like the Baptiste, you know, like immediately went down um, because of it. Okay, yeah. Any last questions from you guys? Okay, perfect. Then I hope this was helpful. Um, what I want you to do now for until the next session, or like what I would recommend to you. I mean, obviously you're your own bosses. Um, First of all, whatever you do, the goals that you take, make them specific. Like somebody needs to feel responsible. Either it's a group of players, like the tanks, or the DPS, or like the whole team. But if they feel responsible, but we need to have like, it cannot be just like, hey, we just work on this topic, and then everybody will say, oh, you were the one. Like, no, I was. Like, I really, you know. This is the first thing, and the second thing is about this kind of whole dive situation here. I am not so sure where's the big problem. So if you feel like this is a communication problem, then I guess this could be one of the goals for next time. Like, hey, we work on our communication. Of course, not saying like this, but saying like, okay, next time we need to clearly communicate who do we dive, like scout. When are we ready with staging? Or like, do we need help with staging? And then we dive. Like, these three things are there. And then obviously, like, who does it? Like, who makes the 3-2-1 countdown? Okay, it's Winston. Perfect. Then if the Winston is not doing, next time in the VOD review, we can point this out. Like, it's not, we don't want to like say like, hey, you're the mistake. No, of course not. But we need to have somebody who is responsible, or like saying like, hey, staging. I mean, nobody really needs staging. Nobody really cares. Only the Anna is the one that needs to stage staging. Maybe like if this is your conclusion that the Genji says, "Hey, I'm always ready." Widow says, "I'm always ready." Diva says, "I'm always ready." Okay, perfect. Maybe then that's just the Anna is the one. Then it's really like up to the Anna. Say like, "Hey, we need to have a clear communication from you when you're ready that we can dive." Like obviously, I'm just putting all examples. I just hope that you understand this idea of what I mean. Like does it got, you know what I mean with this goal setting? Yeah. Okay, perfect. And yeah, so this could be one thing. If you say like the problem is communication, then I would recommend this. And if it still doesn't work, then maybe it's the problem of like, hey, we just don't understand it as a team. Like we're just on a different ideas. Then and we like either we can make another what review, or like you say like, hey, next time let's 10 minutes before the scrim, let's go together and like we just talk about it, like how we want to approach this, so we all on the same page. So this is not a problem, or yeah. But this I think should be the next goal. Okay,